Daf Yud Amud Aleph, the second line from the top. So we're in the middle of a discussion about a lechi, if it's nira mi bechutz sham mifnim. If from the outside you can see the lechi, but from the inside it's not visible. So we said before, we went with the shita before that said that it is nida mishum lechi. We had the case of a chotzer katana, the small chotzer that's nifritz completely open to the large one. We said, now this is not proportional, it's not to scale, but we said that the large one is 11 amas, and the small one is 10 amas. There's an extra amma that it has on the width, and therefore we said that, well, the question was, why isn't this considered a lechi? Why is a small one also? So we said that we're talking where the walls of the small one extend into the larger one, so therefore this is considered separate from this. And we're talking where we said, now, even if it is, why don't we say Dovid, and therefore this should be considered to be walls on that side, we're saying, is that it was not equidistant, and therefore on this side, it's true you can say Dovid, and therefore it's considered like you have a lechi here, it's near bechutz shalva mifnim. But on this side over here, you don't, because you can't say Dovid, it's more than 3 tvachim. And we're going according to shita like Rebbe that says that you need a lechi on each side. It's not enough to have one. So frankly, the Gemara, if you say it's not nida mishum lechi, the Rebbe Sover like Rav Yosi, and Rebbe holds like Rav Yosi that it's not a minimal width for a lechi. You need 3 tfachim width for a lechi. Rav Zera, the Ravina Lessa, and this terrace that we gave before about the walls extending in. According to Ravina Rav, we don't hold a Rav Zera and Ravina Mishum Hachi Ketana B'Esrei Gedol B'Chanas. That's why we understand why the dimensions were given, that the large one was 11 and the small one was 10. Mishum the Rebbe Sover like Rav Yosi, because Rebbe holds like Rav Yosi. And therefore the point of the 11 over here is not as far as the small one. The small one would be also anyway, because Nira B'Chutz and Shalva Mifnim is not a lechi. But it means to teach me that I need this extra amma so that I can have 3 tvachim on each side, so this can be considered a lechi, and here a lechi here, to say that this one is mutter, the gedola is mutter. It's not for the point of the small, it's for the big one. But if you said it is needed, and we do hold to what we said, that the walls are extending in and it's not centered in the middle, the Rebbe loisaver like Rav Yosi, and Rebbe doesn't hold like Rav Yosi, and therefore you don't need 3 tvachim for a lechi. If that's the case, why do I have to say that the gedola is 11? If the point is that the big one, to be much of the big one carrying in the large chotzer, it should be enough with 10 and 2 tfachim. You don't need 11. It should be enough for, even if you hold, you need 2 lechim, but if you don't hold like Rav Yosi, and okay, so just in a minimal amount. Now, so Taisa says, well, why do you need 2 tfachim? If you don't like Rav Yosi, a minimal lechi should be enough. So according to the first terrace and Taisus, it means lav davkit. You don't need 11, just a little bit more than 10, so that you have something extending out, and therefore it'll be a lechi, and you have a lechi on both sides. So if the point is to be a mission of the gedola, you don't need 11. Taisus in the second terrace says that perhaps it's davket 2 tfachim. I mean, even though if you don't hold like Rav Yosi, a lechi could be a minimal width, but that's only when it's added on to the wall. But if it's a wall itself, then you need more of a hacker. It has to be at least a tefach. Hakol panim, you wouldn't need 11. V'ila misur katana, and if the point is to answer the katana, because he's saying that if it's a 11, and if it's not centered, and if the walls of the katana extend in, so therefore you can't say Dovid on this side. Well, if that's the case, if that's the point, why say that? Why give the difference, the differential between the large and the one at only 1 amma? Say a much larger difference, and therefore it'll be clear, and we wouldn't be confused. It'll be very clear that you can't there's no Lovid, and there's no near B'chutz Shabbat and there's no Lechi. Why make it confusing by saying that it's 10 and 11? Elamai must be that it's not Nida Mishum Lechi. And the point of it is not to say, not for the small chatzah, the point of saying 10 and 11 is to saying that you need at least 11 on the large one, at least 11, so that you can have a lechi on both sides, because Rebbe holds you need a lechi on both sides, and he holds like Rabbi Yossi that the width of the lechi has to be at least 3 tefachim. But the point is not for the heter or the isser for the small one. The small one would be also in any event, because nira mivachutz and shalom b'fnim is not a lechi. Amar Rabbi Yosef lo shmiya li ha'ishmaitz. Rabbi Yosef said he didn't hear the shmaitza from Rav Huna about nira mibachutz v'shalom b'fnim. Amar le Abai said ad amar lot. You told us, you taught it to us. Rabbi Yosef forgot his learning, he was sick and he forgot his learning. So Rabbi reminded him, you taught it to us, v'ha'am at and you said it regarding the following. The Amar Rabbi bar Abba Amar Rav Huna lechi ha'moishech im defonai shel movoi. If you have a lechi that extends, a lechi extends out with the wall of the movoi. So if you have the walls of the movoi, so you have the walls of the movoi. Now this wall over here something like this. So the wall on this end goes straight across, but here, this wall ends here. And this extends out, so this is a lechi, that's moishech, it's a lechi, it's moishech im defanai shel movi. It extends out with the wall of the movi. So you have this case over here where you can see the movi, the lechi rather, from the outside, but from in here, you don't see it. So what's the halach in this case? Polchen midalet amas nidim mishum lechi. If this is less than dalet amas, then we treat this as a lechi. But if it is so it's less than dalet amas, then it's nidan mishum lechi, and therefore umishtamish im chuda pnimi, and therefore you can carry up to here. Here you can't carry, but you can carry in the mavui up to here. Dalet amas, but if this is dalet amas, so we don't treat it anymore as a lechi, nidim shemavi. It's not treated as a lechi that has an area that is a depth that was too great to be considered a lechi. We treat this as a mavi on its own, and therefore, also l'shtamish b'kulei. So therefore, this area you can't carry because this needs a lechi, and this is not a lechi, so you can't carry here. So the whole thing is also to carry. It's also to carry on the whole length of the movie. So va'at amar lana, and you taught us regarding this that shema mina tlas. We can learn out from here 3 halachas. Shema mina ben l'chayoin aser. That from the first halacha, that if this is not dalet amas, that you can carry up to here, that teaches us that bein al chayim, the area between the lechi, the area past the lechi, between the lechi and the wall, you can't carry. Because if this is a lechi, if this is not dalet amas, a lechi, why can't you carry it? Because you can't carry between the lechi. That's number one. Shema mina meshech mavei ba'arba. And we learn out that the meshech harma of a mavi, the depth of a mavi is 4 amas, because it says if this is 4 amas, it's not a lechi, this is a mavi. And we also learn out that if this is not dalet amas, this is a lechi. Now it's only near b'chutz, not b'bifnim. You learn out that near b'chutz and shalom b'fnim is nidra mishum lechi. And And that's the halacha, that it is a lechi. Frag the Gemara to you, so but we just asked a kasha before, and we just said Shema Mino that it's not. We learned out from the Bryce that it's not. So how can you say that the halacha is that it is? More answers in Mishum Detan and Rav Chia Kavosei, because Rav Chia learned that way, and we say Lamaisa Rav Chia did not hold of the Brisa, and he passed in that way. So therefore, we follow the Basro, we follow the Shita of Rav Chia, and therefore it's Nidim Shem Lechi. Continue on. So the Mishnah said that if the width of the Movi is more than 10, you have to be Mamayit, you have to narrow it. The opening of the Movi can't be more than 10 amas. Amar Abaya, Tanav Me'aser, Yimai. Rav Yehuda Omer, Ein Tzorach L'mayit. So he says Abaya, just like Rav Yehuda argues on the height, he also argues on the width. And the Tanakam says it can't be wider than 10, the opening can't be wider than 10, but Rav Yehuda says it could be. Vad Kama, what is the maximum width that it can be? It can be more than 10, but up to what limit? Vad Kama, Savaravacha Kam Achai Kame the Rav Yisrael Ashlesh Yama Vishlesh. He wanted to say that it can be up to 13 and a third amas. The width can be 13 and a third amas. And we can learn it out a Kal V'chaimer from Pasei Birois, which we'll explain in a minute. Uma Pasei Birois Yitar Tabem Paras Murubala Amud Lo Yitar Tabem Yosim Mishlesh Yisrayama Vishlish Mavish Lo Yitar Tabay Paras Murubala Amud Ein Adin Shlo Yitar Tabay Yosim Mishlesh Yisrayama Vishlish. Now there's a special kula by Pasei Birois. What are Pasei Birois? So we'll repeat the Gemara and review the Gemara in a moment. But just as an introduction, what is Pasei Birois? The Oil Regalim, when people Oil Regel, so they were traveling, and they of course they needed water, and there was a long journey, and there were wells along the way, but the wells were in Rishus Harabim. So in order to be able to draw the water when it was Shabbos, to draw the water when they camped, in order to draw the water from the Rishus Harabim, and they couldn't draw the water from that because the well itself was considered to be a Rishus Yochid or a Carmelist, but they couldn't draw the water from the well and take it up and drink it. So the Chum made a special kula in enabling them to create a Rishus Yochid with makeshift mechitzas. So assume that there is a well in the middle over here. Now you need mechitzas all around to make this area into Rishus HaYochid so that you can draw the water from the well and bring it up to the side and drink it. In order to do that, you have to make mechitzas, which was very difficult for the Oil Regalim. So they allowed this type of configuration. They allowed you to put posts up, L-shaped posts, on the four corners. So now you had what was in effect a mechitza here, and all around you had mechitzas. So we're mad to this, even though the ports, the open area, is more than the enclosed area. Now, normally we have a rule that you cannot have a bimatern area if the open area is more than the ports is more is meruba than the omud, than the solid area. It's not considered to be enclosed. To have an enclosure, you have to have more enclosed area than open area. Here, the Chacham were mekel for the Oil Regalim, they matter it with this type of a configuration, even though the parts, the open area is more than the omid. Now, even though we allow this, but Rabbi Yehuda holds a maximum open area between each of these posts, and between each of these boards, it cannot be more than 13 and a third amas. So there's a limitation. So therefore, how does it relate to our discussion? So he says as follows. Let's see back in the Gemara again. Makal v'chaymer possibly rice. Uma possibly rice. She tata ben parts merubala Amud. Over there, we allow it to make, how we say, even though there's more open area than closed area. But still, we didn't allow more than 13 and a third in any one area. It can't be more, the width cannot be more than 13 and a third. In a Malvi, we don't allow it. It's not mutter if there's more open area than a closed area. So certainly we should not allow a opening, any one opening that's more than 13 and a third amas. Where it says, no, it's not a kol v'chaymer because Vienna said it. Maybe I'll say, why is it limited in possibly rois 13 and a third? Because we already made this whole kula. We mata paras merova and therefore we limit it and we say no one opening can be more than 13 and a third amas. So over there, where may matter possibly tata paras merova almond loitante by yosef rishlesh riyama v'shlish. So that's why we don't allow anyone opening more than a width of 13 and a third. But malvi loitante by paras merova almond. But by malvi, where we don't allow more open area than closed area, tate by yosef miyugam lama v'shlish. Perhaps we will allow any one opening that's more than 13 and a third. Inami lidach kisa, or I'll tell you the alternate way. The other side, we see that Pasebirois, the Chachamar they make these kulas, so they one kula, akalba, kula achrina. We made a second kula as well, but move klal loy. But a move which we don't see any kulas, perhaps we won't be matter. By Pasebirois, we said 13 and a third because we already make them. But perhaps by a malvoy, which we don't see any special kula, perhaps we won't be mater and make any additional kula or any kula at all, and say therefore Pesach cannot be more than what is standard. The maximum is 10 amas, and we shouldn't be mater anything more than 10 amas. So you have no raya from here.